Carpool Book Club is going to be an interesting one because we're going to talk about audiobooks.
Yeah.
Which is what I listen to on my commute to work.
I'm here.
Unless you're here chatting and nattering on about movies that I've never seen.
Pestering. Thanks for not saying pestering. So yeah, there's a service or a website called Sync, and every week on Thursday mornings they post a new pairing of audiobooks that are free for you to download, and they're geared towards ages 13 and up. And part of it is to get teens interested in reading and give them something to over the summer to keep them listening to stories and being engaged in literacy. Correct?
Correct.
Right. And also, you don't have to just be 13.
Right. Oh, I know lots of adults who listen to these now too.
Yeah.
Because, just because the book may have been originally written for a teen doesn't mean adults can't enjoy them. But they also have lots of, for instance, in week 9, they have books that maybe have been published for adults that are, a lot of times they do nonfiction or a classic.
Right.
Like the one I'm listening to, The Witches.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a nonfiction book.
And the genius of it is there's a pairing. So sometimes there's a theme. Sometimes it's a kind of a play on the titles. Right. Sometimes this time it's the pairing with your which book is a Terry Pratchett book of short stories. And so we were lucky enough to get advanced copies of the audiobooks. And so what we did is I listened to guess which one, Terry Pratchett.
And I listened to The Witches.
Yeah.
Which I'm not quite finished with yet, but I'm still immersed in the late 1600s in Massachusetts when things were a little wacky.
But not the kind of wacky that we're talking about.
No, not like Pratchett. The Terry Pratchett wacky. Like scary wacky.
Different whack. Your stuff is more whack. Mine is wacky. That's a two-word review. Whack. Wacky. And also, our commute time is 30 to 40 minutes, depending on traffic. That'll get you one or two Terry Pratchett stories, or just probably about as much as you could take of super depressing witches. Yeah, it's true. I'm glad I'm listening to it though, because I've been to Salem. Actually went to Salem one year at Halloween. No way.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Wow.
And went to like a bunch of historical places and museums, and so it's very interesting to be listening to this quite detailed history of what happened during that time.
So hey, do you want to play Sync audiobook Sync trivia?
Sure, you ask me the questions and I'll see if I know the answers, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. How long am I allowed to download the audiobook, and when does it start? When does each week start?
It starts on Thursday. Bing, bing, bing.
Okay, next question. Very good, Angela. I missed last week's audiobooks. May I still get them?
No, sorry.
What if you say please?
Nope.
Still nothing?
They're only there for a week.
Right. Okay, I've got one for you here. I have students/patrons who love audiobooks. May I give them copies of my audiobook in class for reading or listening as a group?
I would say...
Performance right issues.
Yeah, I'd say no. Unless you loaned them your own phone, which you probably wouldn't want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
You could point
location where they can get it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, I'm just getting all of this off of the FAQ, the FAQ.
Right. Which is where anyone who has lots of questions about it should go.
Right.
And it's right there on the website.
If you wanted to start your own sync trivia night, I would recommend getting some of it and reading it first before you try doing it.
Yes.
Because if you say I don't know, I have to admit I don't know either. Some of them.
So maybe we can put a link to the Sync audiobook.
Let's link to Sync.
Let's link to Sync.
We're going to link to Sync. I think I probably already said this. These short stories were written by Terry Pratchett when he was 17. Did I say that?
No.
These are all 17-year-old Terry Pratchett's mind.
Wow. That's interesting that he was 17 when he wrote that. Like, you know, another thing about these pairings is that, you know, you might not think that, you know, well, maybe why would a 13-year-old be interested in this, you know, long, thick book about the witchcraft trials in Salem? But a lot of the people who did the accusing were teenagers.
Really?
You know, they were 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And that was, I mean, what an interesting thing that this whole group of young girls who nobody ever listened to before, all of a sudden, they have a huge amount of power.
Right.
Scary power, which ends up in a lot of people being hanged, which is horrifying. But what an interesting, you know, again, whoever came up with this pairing. Audiobook sync, people, yay!
Did it. Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with free. If you're
if you don't like it, you can just delete it.
Yeah, don't listen to it. If you're interested in audiobooks and you haven't, you know, wanted to go out and buy one, mess around with all that, this is a great way of getting into it, checking it out.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, that's a great way to end our Carpool Book Club.
Hey, we made
Jay.
it. We're home. So, hey, you know what? It'll probably work now. Maybe. Sync.
Can you see it?
Angela's purple phone. Sync. Go there. Download stuff. What if you're 12?
It doesn't matter how old you are.
I thought I said it was for 13 and up.
Well, it's recommended for 13 and up, but I think, I mean, you know, how are they going to know?
You probably should have your parents' permission.
I guess.
If you're old enough to accuse someone of being a witch and have them hanged, you're old enough to download an audiobook.
Absolutely.
Especially by now, because you'd be like 600. Something to think about. All right, Carpool Book Club, we did it.
Yay!